Alright, so let's talk about retaliation, right? So in my video, let's now talk about closing a karmic cycle. And in order to close a karmic cycle, right, you need to fulfill your karma, right? You need to, that is what it takes in closing the karmic cycle, right? So somebody do something unjust to you, right? You respond to that. You retaliate to that because you know it's unjust. You know, hey, I didn't do nothing to deserve this particular wrong, right? And that's part of closing the karmic cycle. You respond to it and you move on, right? It means that you don't dwell in that space, right? So that's what it means to close the karmic cycle, right? You respond to the retaliate to the wrong that was done to you, and you close it off and you move on, right? So if an unjust situation happened to you, right, and you know it to be unjust, or you know it to be, hey, this is actually more than what you know, right? I didn't do nothing to deserve this particular wrong. I do things to deserve wrong, yeah, for sure, right? But I didn't do something, or I didn't think something, or I didn't say something, right, that would warrant that level of whatever came to me, right? So if you know something like that happened to you, you respond to it, you retaliate out against it, right? Retaliate to it and close your cycle, right? That's what it means. And you no longer dwell in that space, right? And the Quran talks about it too, right? Retaliating against unjust situations, right? So people see I on YouTube and I carried on a certain way. Some of my videos calm, some of my videos real, extraordinarily vile, some might say, but the vileness isn't a response to the violence that happened to me. So I retaliated against it, right? Get it out of my system, and now I can move on in peace, right? So I respond to whatever attacks there were towards me, right? And now I close that cycle because I no longer want to have anything to do with anybody in that regard, right? That inflicted that sort of suffering upon me, right? Which was unwarranted. And I say, hey, well, I no longer want to have to do that, and I move on in peace, right? So that's what the retaliation is about, and it's in the Quran, right? It's a verse in the Quran saying when an unjust situation happens, say that you ought to retaliate, right? Is actually within the will of Allah, right? For that retaliation to take place in the measure that was done to you, meaning that you verbally speak out against it or take action towards it, right? Once you know that action committed towards you was wrong, and especially in a situation where an unjust happened to you, that the people who are in charge, right, of ensuring that justice is supposed to be occurring, right, unto you are the people who are carrying out the unjust actions towards you. So you have leaders who are, or people in particular appointed positions in human authority who are supposed to be stopping those things from happening. You are supposed to be, hey, going to those people to resolve certain situations. And those are the people, whether international or local, have committed a wrong against you, right? And speaking out, that's why platforms like this is supposed to be freedom of speech. But unfortunately, these things have become police all, right? So you have YouTube platforms now. They could actually control your views, right? You have a YouTube platform and your views could be controlled. But God is a God that God says, hey, use the power of your speech. I give you a speech, right? Use the power of your speech, right? So it doesn't matter, right? And I say in that too, it doesn't matter if you have 0 views, 1 view on YouTube. The matter that you put it out in the public domain, right? And you're speaking it, right? That's what matters, right? So I couldn't care less if I have 0 views or 1 view or 2 views, right? Once as it is, I have put it outside to be consumed by the public. It doesn't matter if you restrict my views or you allow my views to be known, right? On YouTube, it's just a physical thing. At the end of the day, it's just a number thing, right? So the point is, God gave you the ability to speak, right? And it is your choice, right? You choose to speak out or to retaliate against a situation. I chose to do that, right? Some people mightn't choose to do that, and that is according to your how you feel about the situation, right? But I choose out, hey, as a bad situation happened to me, I will express myself about it, and I will say, hey, I feel a particular way about the situation, and this thing wasn't warranted, right? And then God will have certain orchestrations in the universe come together to ensure, hey, the justice happen, play out in a way that this thing's supposed to be played out on whatever end of the story, right? Whatever end, right? So this is how this goes, and this all would close in the karmic cycle as well, because everything needs to be resolved, all situations, right? Everything needs to be resolved. So retaliation sometimes happen to be a part of that, right? To karmic resolution. Retaliation is in fact a part of that karmic resolution, right? And then moving on, right? I just that topic, right? Good.